All right, you're good to go.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Bethany Bennett, your community artist here at Atlantic Center for the Arts. Today I am going to show you how to illustrate your very own short story. So I made a few of my own little short stories, and there's so many ways that you can do this, or variations of books or short stories or comics. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples and then we'll make one together. So this is one that I made called Reminders for Carol. And what I did was find an interesting comic strip that was super simple and basic, and I just cut out the characters and I changed the little blurbs by using paint, or you can just cut those off and create your own little blurbs. And this is just 4 pages. Reminders for Carol. Time for you to watch the baby. Time for you to pay your bills. Time for you to relax. So that's my short story about Reminders for Carol. I also made this book, and this one I illustrated myself, and it's very simple, but has a great storyline. So many short stories usually have characters, a setting, a plot, and a theme. And within the plot, you have the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and then the resolution. And that's if you're going into real detail with a short story. You don't really need all of that to build or create your own story. You really just need conflict and resolution. So although my short story about Carol is really just about Carol being overwhelmed and then a reminder for her to relax, my second short story goes into greater detail. So follow along with me in Luke's journey. This is Luke. Luke had a tough life. Things for him seemed to be more difficult. He spent a long time ignoring his problems. While he spent his days and nights playing video games, his problems grew. Eventually, his problems got so big, he couldn't ignore them. These are the problems. Luke finally decided to ask for help and take advice from others. He started making lists of the things he needed to change. He got a job and worked very hard to impress his employers. For over 5 years, Luke worked at this, dedicating himself to getting his life back on track. Positive things started happening for Luke. He even got a promotion at his job. Luke learned that to solve problems, you have to deal with them head on, and the path to positivity is hard work, but it's so worth it. Luke got health insurance and a dog and lived happily ever after. The end. So, I guess what I'm saying is that you can make a short story and kind of subconsciously solve your own problems by writing it out. Writing is such an important part of our STEAM theme. It should accompany every assignment or problem proposed, because proficient writing makes a person career ready. Writing should be a huge part of any profession. So just practicing simple skills like writing a short story can help you just at writing in general. So it helps you organize your thoughts. And sometimes it helps you kind of minimize issues that you think are bigger than what they really are. So what I like to do to start my book is to just make a simple two-fold on a piece of printer paper, and then I just cut the edges off, one of the edges off where the fold is. Try to make it straight, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so once you do that, you have, we're just gonna make a 4-page book. You have your pages like this. If you have regular glue, that works as well, but I just like to put 2 little dots in the binding. And maybe one day I'll show you guys how to bind books. So there you have it. When you open it now, it doesn't come apart. You can also use a stapler, or if you know anything about book binding, you can actually sew it down the middle of the bind. But so there's multiple ways you can do this. You can make up your own characters and draw them out. You can sketch them lightly with a pencil and then go over them with crayons. You can adapt or appropriate other people's comics like I've done, or you can go right in and copy it. If you're using a regular piece of printer paper, you can usually just lay it over the image and copy it with your pencil. However, if you're using a thicker piece of paper, what you can do to transfer the image is, let's say we want to copy this little guy. So what you'll do is you'll go over it with pencil, and I press down pretty hard and maybe even go over the lines once or twice. Once you've copied all the lines, to transfer that image, now it will be reversed. So you press it down this way. And then you just color over that part, pressing down pretty hard so the pencil on the other side transfers. So now you have that little guy transferred. And you can do this with any comic. Here's a good one, Flash Gordon. So say you find a comic or you have comic books lying around, you can go ahead and make up your own storyboard with different comics by transferring them the way I just showed you. So And you can do that multiple times. You can use that same image and copy it as many times as you want. So let's see here. This will be our main character. We'll name him Henry. Henry. And we'll call this Henry's Wish, because he looks like he's wishing for something. Okay? So here's the beginning of our story. Henry's Wish. Okay, so if we want to think of something that is a conflict for Henry, because you want to make the beginning of the story interesting enough that people want to flip to the next page. So let's see here. Now I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this bubble too. I like this bubble. And if you want, you can copy the entire comic and then just change the dialogue that's already there for you. Make up your own. So what will Henry's wish be? Henry wants maybe Henry wants a dog. So Henry's wish. Sometimes when you transfer it, it comes out a little blotchy, so you can go over it again. That's why I like to do the lines once or twice. And if you want to get real fancy, you can go on Microsoft Word or any other online platforms and look for different fonts, different ways to do lettering or calligraphy. Really, all you need supply-wise to illustrate your own book is just a pencil and paper. But there's so many ways you can get fancy and creative. Okay, so Henry's wish. Henry really wanted a dog. So maybe we'll draw a little storefront here. And we'll put a little dog in the window. And then in the bubble you can write whatever you want, but I'm going to put, man, I really want a dog. I wish this was mine. So now we have to think of a problem for Henry. Okay, so the fun part about doing this is switching up what the characters are saying or what they look like they're doing. So I'm going to include Henry's dad in this time. And the comic that I'm adapting has nothing to do with a dog, but that's what's fun about this. Ooh, and the Flash Gordon one I could really make interesting. Henry doesn't have a mouth in this illustration, so you can add a mouth if you want. All right. We're gonna have the conflict be that Henry's dad won't let him get a dog. Henry's dad said, "No way." Henry's dad said, "No way," when he asked about getting a dog. So what could the resolution be? Instead of Henry freaking out, Henry could maybe start working with the dogs. Yeah, he could start working with the dogs. Maybe he goes to the pet store and gets a job there, and then he gets to walk the dogs every single day and gets to play with them, feed them, basically take care of them, just not take them home. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna give Henry an apron. And we're going to give Henry a job. So when I'm having a stressful day and I think that I've got so much to do, it's overwhelming, sometimes I'll make a list, or I'll make a list that's kind of like a short story, but it kind of ends like Reminders for Carol, because I always put something at the end of my list or the end of my story that has a resolution. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So Henry's going to get this job, and the resolution for him is that he gets to be surrounded by puppies all day, every day. And he doesn't have to argue with his dad. So it's a win-win. Oh man, Henry's looking interesting. All right, so let's see. Somebody gives him a job. Now he's working, so we've got to create a setting. Now he's working. Here's the counter. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? Little puppies. And then we have our resolution. Henry gets a job at the pet store and is surrounded by puppies. And that is the end of our story. So let's go over that. Henry's wish. Henry really wanted a dog. Henry's dad said no way when he asked about getting a dog. Henry gets a job at the pet store and is surrounded by puppies. Let's put a so in there. So Henry gets a job at the pet store and is surrounded by puppies. The end. By Bethany Bennett. So I'm interested in seeing short stories that you guys create or illustrate, and if you would be interested in sharing them with us, we have a S.T.E.A.M theme gallery. The link is in the description below the video, and if you make any funny little books or short stories, if you guys would share those with me, I'd be thrilled to see them. And they're honestly really fun to make. So if you guys would let me know which book you like the best that I made and maybe share one of yours, that would be really cool. Thanks for joining us today. This has been fun. Bethany Bennett signing off. All right, I'm done with that one. What?
Are you still going?
I'm done.
Oh, awesome. I was going to say you have a few minutes, so.